It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in on this Hump Day Wednesday. It's opening day for golf picks, and the Masters is right around the corner. Grizz win, so they get another 50-win season. They finish with the absolute best record in all of the NBA when it comes to home games. They were sensational, 35-6 this year at home. We're going to talk with Pete Pranica about that coming up at about 10:25 today. We make our golf picks. Johnny Lyon, Mickey Barker, they are back, me and J-Mo. So last year, Johnny won it. I finished second. Mickey was third. J-Mo, it was almost embarrassing, your picks last year.
But it's a great time for redemption, you know.
Seems like it's a redemption year.
Has to be.
Isn't that?
There's no other option.
Somebody had that written as a T-shirt, didn't they?
I'm going to get one as a T-shirt.
There you go. You go first. Mickey second. I'm third. Johnny is last. We're doing it a little different this year with our picks. 2 just from the field, however you want to go, and then 1 has to be below 50, 51st, in the OWGR World Rankings. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then here in just about 7 or 8 minutes or so, we will chat with Steve Macy. You may remember Steve. He was a associate athletic director at the University of Memphis for a long time. When COVID hit, layoffs came, he had to go in a cost-saving move. But he's back in sports. He's the marketing director of the new Memphis Showboats, and he's going to join us to talk a little bit about that team. And that'll come your way, as I said, in about 8 minutes or so. So last night, Grizz are winners 119-109, and they did it differently than they normally do, right? They usually are great in the third quarter, not so good in the fourth. Not so much last night. A 22-2 run, a fourth quarter advantage, 23-14. They win 119-109. 5 guys scored at least 16. Bain led the way with 30. Ja, 23 and 9. Kennard, 20. He was 6 of 10 from 3. Triple J, 17 and 7. Roddy was 4 of 6 from 3-point range. He had 16 points. The thing I love the best, even though I don't think they're quite playing like they were playing, something seems to be missing. I don't know. But they had 30 assists last night. That's pretty good. They hit 18 threes. That's really good. Portland was a G League team. They were 17.5-point dogs, so they covered. This coming after they had beaten Minnesota when they were 19.5-point underdogs. So they didn't do 2 in a row, but they covered 2 in a row. They're tanking, right? Isn't that why they're doing it, to get Watanabe?
Well, I don't know about that. I think that would be a great lottery for them. I think that but when they got eliminated, they just shut down their guys. You know, you don't want anybody to get hurt.
Yeah, they shut down their guys because they want the number 1 pick.
It could be. I mean, you want to increase your odds as much as you can. It's certainly something who's going to get that guy.
I love it. You know, I think you said it off the air to me, and I think you're spot on with these guys. Give a couple of guys. Skylar Mays had 24 points last night.
Great game.
You realize he's on a 10-day?
Yeah.
10-day.
I signed him off a G League team.
Right. So, you know, you get a hungry guy out there who's willing to play hard and the other team really doesn't care. That's what happens.
Exactly right. And you mentioned the threes, too. Big threes down the stretch to win the Grizzlies game. I think that's only the second game I can think of all year where 3-pointers down the stretch won in the game.
Threes and a big fourth quarter. I mean, that's
right.
not their MO.
It's not at all.
So, and they held Portland to 43% shooting. That's pretty outstanding. So, anyway, this is a Portland team that wants to lose. So they got their way. So the Grizz now still have a 2-game lead on Sacramento, but it's 1 game because they got the tiebreak. You know, the Nuggets lost last night to Houston, and Joel Embiid scored 52. So for Philly over Boston. So you're sitting there going, okay, there's no question about this. Embiid just won MVP. I think Jokic just said, "It's okay. I've won 2 in a row. He's going to get it." Because he only played 24 minutes last night. He didn't play, and wow, losing to a Houston team that's awful.
I think the way Embiid, I think you nailed it. The way Embiid has played down the stretch of this season, I think it started when the Sixers played Denver and Embiid had 46 points while being guarded by Jokic. Jokic only had 18 or 19 or something like that. I think that stretch in that game, that won Embiid the MVP.
Yeah, actually, Jokic had 14 points in 24 minutes last night. Did have double-double, but I think last night, if it wasn't already decided, Embiid won. So, but the Nuggets only are 2 up ahead on the Grizzlies. So, honestly, the number 1 seed in the conference is up for the taking. Now, I don't know if they want to win it because I believe – I'm going to double-check this right here. I believe if you were the number 1 seed, the odds are you would play – Phoenix, is that right?
In the second round, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I don't know. You would play the winner of Minnesota Oak City at this point, if you're the 1 seed. And then you would probably most likely have to play, the winner of Phoenix and Golden State. So, maybe you don't want that. So let me just tell you, here are the scenarios. The Sacramento Kings will play Dallas tomorrow night, or tonight, excuse me, and they're 6.5-point underdogs. Dallas is favored by 6.5. Of course, the Grizzlies play the Pelicans tonight. They're 5.5-point underdogs in that game. The Grizz then take on Milwaukee on Friday, and they're at Oak City on Sunday. Sacramento at Dallas, then they play Golden State on Friday, then they're at Denver on Sunday.
Tough road stretch in the season. But that'll help you playing good basketball come playoff time.
I do think the Grizz, because of the Sacramento schedule, really should. They're up 2 with 3 games to go. They should hold on to that spot. But remember, they've got to win. They got to be up by 2 because, they got to be up by 1 because if it's tied, they get the tie break.
That's right.
And the Nuggets are at Phoenix, at Utah, at Sacramento. That's a tough stretch too. One could be had if you got really hot or if you really want that 1 position. So that is how all of that sets up. Greg Gaston just told me the atmosphere at FedEx Park last night. Everett Fogelman threw out the first pitch. Just a tremendous atmosphere. And they limited the tickets because not all the stands are done. So, I'm glad they're going to play all their games now at FedEx Field as opposed to AutoZone Park. Because it seems to me when you play at AutoZone Park, the opposition teams like Arkansas played there, Ole Miss played there, they would bring more people. This way, you're getting the tickets, you're getting them to your people, and apparently it was really terrific. But both teams used their midweek pitchers, and the Tigers gave up 8 walks. 8. Man. Then they hit a batter, and there was an error. So 10 base runners got on, and the Tigers gave up 5 of the 7 runs in a 7-2 loss with 2 outs. So now Memphis still improved for sure, but they beat themselves a little bit last night. They're 16-14 on the year. Ole Miss, which has had a tough stretch, now 17-11. And the Tigers, if you're interested, will be playing Cincinnati. 3 games this week, starting on Friday. I thought when we talked in baseball that Oliver Marmol, the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, was spot on. You don't see many times where a manager really in this day and age goes after one of his own players. Did you hear what he said?
I did not.
So in the 7th, they're down 4-1. And there is runners on first and second. There's a line drive to right field. Tyler O'Neill, the outfielder for the Cardinals, in my mind, and I watched the play, I don't think he's running hard. and there's a great throw from an Atlanta right fielder to the plate on the money, and Tyler O'Neill is thrown out. But I will tell you, I don't think Tyler O'Neill was running 100%. Now, he's had some hamstring issues. He disagrees with the manager's assessment that he was not giving 100% effort. But Oliver Marmol, that is what he said to the press after that his guy was dogging it. You don't see that very often. And now, by the way, there's only one undefeated team in Big League Baseball, and that is the Tampa Bay Rays. They're 5-0. I love all the parity. I think it's going to be just a terrific year to watch baseball. I think it's going to be a terrific year for spring football, or maybe it will be. Steve Macy's going to let us know in a minute. I'll let everybody know we're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios where that preseason pool and patio sale continues. You're going to get great prices. They've extended it into this month where you beat the summer rush if you're looking for a pool, and you're the first to get on the installation list, which gets big once it warms up, and like today's 80, so it's going to warm up. Free layaway, and there's some special financing available during the sale, the preseason patio and pool sale taking place at I-40 and Whidden Road. And this portion of the show is brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Team, and they are a team, and part of their philosophy is to collaborate with you. Teamwork, you could say. And Matt has a bunch of professionals. They'll sit down with you, and whether it's home, auto, life insurance, they're going to get to know you, your family, what's important, what you see down the road, what your budget is, and then they will protect you. If you've got a small to mid-sized business, that is the Eflin Insurance Team specialty. They've got commercial insurance for you once they get to know you, your employees, what your product is. They'll forecast down the road, what's your budget, and then they protect you. You want to feel secure? You call this number, 901-386-4777. By the way, that spells out GUR because they're big Tiger fans. That's the way they protect you at the Eflin Insurance Team. Let's head over to, I don't even know where are the Showboat offices, Steve Macy, the Director of Marketing for the newest of the spring leagues in Memphis, the USFL, returning. Where are you located, Steve Macy? Good morning.
So, one of the coolest things, first of all, hi, Dave. It's good to hear your voice and to talk to you. We have retrofitted the Pipkin building.
Oh, cool.
And both Houston and Memphis coaching staffs and teams are all housed here. And it's wonderfully convenient to the stadium because both teams are practicing full-time in the stadium. All home games for those two teams are here at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. So it's an awesome setup for us, and it's loud at times. You've got a lot of guys that are coming in, and whether it's lunchtime or breakfast time, it gets loud in there. But the energy and the enjoyment, the excitement about playing professional football is very obvious all the time.
So you open up a week from Saturday at 3:30 against the Philadelphia Stars. I'm assuming that is a doubleheader day. Then you go to Birmingham the following week, then right back at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium for a game with your pod partner, I guess, Houston, right? And that would just be a single game on the 29th.
Yeah, so we're really, in some ways, fortunate. The way the USFL is set up this year is there are two teams in each of four markets. So Birmingham is hosting two teams, Memphis is hosting two teams, Canton, Ohio is hosting two teams, and Detroit, Michigan is hosting two teams. And we're pretty fortunate that on the dates when Houston and Memphis don't play against each other, they also don't play on the same day. So we'll have Memphis is playing on Saturday at 3:30, then Houston's playing on Sunday the 16th at 11 a.m.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I was really confused. I thought you were going to have double headers on those days.
The great thing about the league, Dave, is that every game's going to be nationally televised, and this entire operation and what's different from the USFL and some of the others that came through quickly, whether it was the AAF or some others, that this thing has real backing. Fox Sports owns the entire league. They own all the teams. They're footing the bill for all of the salaries, the players, the staff, the coaches. the marketing budgets, all of this is owned by Fox, and it's valuable to them. They want to make this thing work because from a television standpoint, this is really valuable to them at this time of the year. Football continues to be an incredible endeavor that fans want to watch and fans want to see, and they feel like this has super value. So this is the first spring league to come back for a second season since the original USFL back in the 80s.
So along the valuable part, because we know this is really programming for the television networks. You
Yep.
guys with Fox and NBC, the combo, and ESPN and ABC on the XFL. What's the XFL doing? How do you feel that is going?
I think they've had, and I don't want to talk about the quote unquote competition, and they've got their own issues and their own strengths, and we're focusing on what we've got coming up, and I think what we look at from the USFL is that all of our games are nationally broadcast, so they're going to be on either Fox Network, NBC Network, on USA Network, or on FS1. So each of our games for all 8 teams, all 10 weeks, is going to have a nationally televised game to the full breadth of TV households. And I think also when you look at the stadiums and locations where the USFL is playing, and especially here in Memphis, is that it's people that are starved for football. And, I have talked to a lot of people here about we're so excited about the showboats being back, and are we here to stay? And I think that's probably the biggest point is that, yes, this is here to stay. This is going to be spring football at its finest. We're going to have a lot of fun. The first game on April 15th at 3:30, we're pulling out all the stops. We'll have a concert pregame. We're going to have a flyover. We're going to have a giant American flag. It's going to be a really, really fun game. And then, ho-hum, the first 7,000 fans are going to get a free Showboats T-shirt. But this is just going to be such a fun environment, a fun atmosphere. It's made for TV, but it's also made for fans. And the games are not going to drag on. They're going to be 3 hours. That's a tight thing that we have to do. Halftime's only 10 minutes. And it's really going to be – I just can't tell you how excited I am for us to be back in the stadium playing football.
Well, as a guy who was a part of the original Showboats.
Yes, boat will ocean, I've learned.
Yeah. It was terrific. Now, honestly, that league, that model, I mean, there was, I want to say, like, in the end, 11 or 12, maybe more Showboats that went on to play in the NFL because they were in competition with that league. This one is not, and we've seen others fail. I'm not trying to press you on this, but you learn from those lessons, like the failure here with the Alliance of American Football. Maybe that was just underfunded. I don't know. But you're saying this one's here to stay, and I'm hoping that you're 100% right. But tell me why you really believe that in your heart.
Well, I think when you just look at what Fox Sports does, whether it's the Daytona 500 or it's the Super Bowl or it's their relationship with Major League Baseball, they make really good decisions on their programming. And this one was a home run for them last year. Despite playing all of the games in Birmingham, they still felt it had a ridiculously high value for them in its first season. And the resources they're putting into it, and they're not trying to build it too fast and go crazy with just 4 different locations, so they only had to quadruple the investment in terms of what they were doing in each market instead of going times 8, which what is that, octuple, whatever that number is, or whatever that word is, Dave. They're building it out slowly so that they can sustain this. They've got the same type of market control in each place, so that there are top-level Fox executives that are engaged in the process, whether it's from a marketing standpoint, whether it's how the game is played. You've got Mike Pereira, who was a longtime NFL supervisor of officials. That is the USFL supervisor of officials. The investment being made is not just for one time, let's launch this. It's how do we sustain this? What do we do to build a fan base in our places that we're going to be, so that they fall in love with the team again? And you don't make a mascot if you're just doing a fly-by-night organization. You don't invest in head coaches and general managers and like even in me, like a local marketing guy to say, hey, we want someone in market that can help us grow and sustain this. And all of the things they're doing are not based on just making it through this year. It's based on we're going to build roots in this town. We spent time this week talking about what we're going to do in the off season to maintain momentum. What are we going to do in the off season to engage with the community? And you don't start talking about that before the season starts without saying we are committed long term.
You're obviously selling the showboats. Who's selling Houston? Like that game on the 16th? Is there?
Well, Dave, I am as well, but I think
Okay.
they recognized last year in Birmingham that the Stallions games, the Birmingham Stallions games, did really, really well, and the other games that didn't involve the local team, frankly, didn't have a whole lot of fans in the stadium. So our plan is to really throw a great show and a great party for the Memphis games, and then put on a quality show for the Houston games. And anybody's got season tickets to the showboats, that also means that they have season tickets to the Gamblers games. And it's not going to have the pomp and circumstance that we'll have for the showboats games, but it'll still be a professional football game. And we welcome everybody to come out and have fun and just watch spring football in those games. But we do recognize that long term, the Houston Gamblers are not going to be part of the Memphis market, and we're really putting our efforts into showing that the showboats are here to stay and is part of the Memphis community.
Real quick, and we're going to have other guests, general manager and players, as the weeks unfold. But how good is this team?
I think they're pretty good. I mean, I'm not going to try to pretend like I know what the other teams are and how good they're going to be. But the coaching staff is great, from the head coach, Todd Haley, to Carnell Lake on the defensive side. I think, based on what I've heard, that our defense is going to be really, really stellar. And now the defense is usually ahead of the offense early, but the defense looks really, really good. So this could be kind of a fun team to watch, flying around the football, getting after it on the defensive side, turning teams over, getting pressure on the quarterback. I think that's going to be, at least so far, that looks like a strength of this team. And we're going to play fast on offense as well. It's an exciting offense that you expect to see in modern football. And I just can't wait to see us get after it on the 15th.
I'm looking forward to it myself. Steve Macy, best of luck. Let's hope we have a lot of fun for years to come.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you always.
You got it. Steve Macy now with the Memphis Showboats, and again, they open up on a week from this Saturday, April the 15th at 3:30 at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium against the Philadelphia Stars. This portion of our show is brought to you by Conway. I had Conway out last night, and they're coming. I got a little drain problem. And, they've got a new drain thing going on that's really, really impressive. Everything they do, it seems like they're always on the money. I kid you not. And at this particular moment, if you've got, whether it's a small clog or a large main line sewer drain issue, and I know about that, the experienced technicians at Conway are ready to solve all your drain problems. You could take advantage of the 83 or its free mainline drain cleaning special. If they don't clear it, you don't pay for it. Visit conwayservices.com for detailed terms and conditions, or simply call 384-3511. When we come back, Pete Pranica, I think he's already in New Orleans. He joins us in just a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York, but many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 a person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
With Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, you can check if you're paying too much for home insurance, because giving you options is the right thing to do.
Oh, you mean like when I let someone with less groceries go ahead in line? Sure, there's a part of me that thinks, if you only need 3 things, maybe go to a convenience store next time. And now they're sifting through coupons and my frozen foods are about to be not frozen.
But still, it's the right thing to do. So compare rates with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
The Dell Technologies semi-annual sale is on with limited quantity deals on top tech. Save on select PCs powered by the latest 12th gen Intel Core processors like thin and light XPS 13 laptops, Inspiron laptops, and 2-in-1s. Plus, get savings on select accessories, free shipping, and monthly payment options with Dell Preferred Account. Save today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Lonely feeling deep inside.
Welcome back into New Orleans. We go in a moment. Our title sponsor, as the announcer man said, it's Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, where that team has been together about 15, maybe longer, years of making sure you get the best product and the best financing deal that you can find. And they got a special right now if you go see Vinny Gerard, because he's over the Genesis cars. And they got a special on the G70. That's the little sedan that I call it a sports car. Some people call it a rocket. It's fast. But if you agree to finance with Genesis, I don't see why you wouldn't. It's good terms. They'll give you a $1,000 rebate. $1,000 to do business with them at Homer Skelton Hyundai, right there at the corner of Highway 78 Lamar and the first exit in Mississippi. That's Craft Road. Go see all the folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai. So, have you had a beignet from Cafe au Lait at all yet early today? Pete Pranica, good morning.
Yeah, Cafe Du Monde. Yeah, that was the first stop of the day. Yes, absolutely.
I'm right. You're a man after my own heart. All right, I always ask you these tough questions to begin with. You're usually pretty fair about them. I've been asking you all year long, where will the Grizzlies finish? So now we know they could literally finish first in the West, second in the West, third in the West. Where will the Grizzlies start? What position in the playoffs?
I'd like to think that they would get the 2 spot. Now, their magic number to do that is 2. New Orleans is playing for something tonight. Milwaukee on Friday night, probably not playing for anything. Oklahoma City will be playing for something, potentially home court in the play-in in the final game. So, in Sacramento, they've got a couple of games. They got a Dallas team that is dysfunctional right now, but certainly trying to see if there's any way they can get into the play-in. So magic number 2 with 3 to play. I think balance of probability the Grizzlies end up in 2. I know Denver's really struggled, and Jokic was not very good last night, but I don't know that they're going to get to the point where they would get the top overall seed in the West.
Well, a win tonight, and you mentioned that Dallas seems to be dysfunctional. I agree with that. I guess Luka Doncic took responsibility for that yesterday. That was interesting. But you realize Dallas is a 6.5-point favorite. Of course, the Pelicans are 5.5-point favorites tonight, whatever that means. And then Sacramento's got to play the same night you're in Milwaukee. They play Golden State at home, and then they finish with Denver, which actually could end up being, the way that all this whole thing is in the mix, an opportunity, depending on what the Grizzlies do, to win the Western Conference.
Yeah, it is really a jumbled mess right now. But I think that the Grizzlies want to really put a fine point on their style of play, which they did not do in the second half in Chicago, and certainly did not do in moments last night against a Portland team that was almost literally a G League team. Not to disparage the G League, because there are a lot of great basketball players in that particular group, but they just need to play better, and they need to play better for 48 minutes. And it's been kind of hit or miss. And I know that it's game 80. But it's time for the Grizzlies, like I said, to put a finer point on everything and get ready for what they hope is a long playoff run. But you look at, no matter who the Grizzlies face, if the Grizzlies face the Lakers are playing good basketball right now, and they're starting to get healthy. And the Clippers, if they, put it all together, New Orleans is always dangerous. And, of course, Golden State, they have championship pedigree. So, all those different teams you could face, there isn't a team, with maybe the exception of Minnesota, that you look at and go like, yeah, okay, we got this. I think all the other matchups are going to be very, very difficult and potentially long series.
Last night was their 50th win, so that's 6 times now this franchise has done it while in Memphis. That's pretty impressive. They have the best home record in all of the NBA. But as you just mentioned, I can't put my finger on it. Nobody knows this team better than you. What is missing? Because, like you said, last night they struggled a little bit with a team that appears to me to be trying to lose games. And now they had the big spurt in the fourth quarter, which showed that they wanted it. But what's missing? Where are they not playing like they were earlier in the year when they were really humming along?
Well, like I said, you do get late in the season. Is fatigue part of it? Is just the mental grind of going through a season? Is that part of it? Let's underline this. This is the second youngest team in the NBA. Okay? Mm-hmm. Usually young teams do not win 50 games, particularly young teams. And when you figure that Steven Adams hasn't played the last 32, 33 games, this team gets even younger. And I think that there is some volatility with youth and relative inexperience, and I think that's shown. I mean, when this team is really humming, 20-point lead in Chicago, a 19-point lead last night, that's the good side of it, but not maybe fully grasping the gravity of the situation and the fact that 19-point leads. Look, 19-point leads in this league are nothing with the 3-point shot right now, and if you take your eye off the ball, that lead can disappear in a hurry, and it did in Chicago, and it did last night at home against Portland.
Yeah, 23-point lead in Chicago, obviously very early in the game, but nonetheless, you're right, the 3-point line makes a difference. It made a difference last night for the Grizzlies, who hit, 18 threes in that game, and the acquisition of Kennard is, for really basically nothing, is turning out to be a brilliant move, it seems.
Yeah, it absolutely has been, and I think Luke Kennard is probably playing some of the best basketball of his career. He brings an element of physicality and hustle that I think a lot of people, they just figured, hey, he's a standstill 3-point shooter. And early on in his tenure, Luke was reluctant to shoot unless he was wide open. Now he's shooting contested threes. He's shooting threes on the move, off the bounce. And, he has shown himself to be a good, well-rounded basketball player. And I think it's one of the pickups that absolutely nobody in the NBA was talking about at the trade deadline. But yet I think given what the Grizzlies needed, probably one of the most vital and value-packed pickups of the trade season.
There have been some theories thrown out there, especially since the suspension of Ja and his return, that Ja should not be the focal point of the offense. In fact, maybe the third option behind Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane. Give me your thoughts on that.
Who's open? Who's hot? That's who the primary option should be. I think that this is a team that has depth, that has multiple weapons, that can score at all three levels. As great as Ja is, and as great as Desmond has been playing as of late, and Brevin and I have talked about this, we felt this way for a couple of years now. The ultimate level of success that the Grizzlies will achieve is dependent upon Jaren Jackson Jr. He is. I haven't checked the stats this morning, but he's close to the top 10, definitely top 15 in plus minus in the NBA. His impact when he's on the floor defensively, offensively is incalculable. The problem is he hasn't been able to stay on the floor because of fouls. And does he have to be the prime? I don't think there has to be a prime guy. This is a team that has so many weapons right now, and you throw Kennard in the mix off the bench. I don't think that you have to say this guy's the focal point, that's the focal point. I think this team is at its best when it moves the ball, when it plays together and selects the right option to get the best shot. It's not a matter of saying, okay, Ja, you're going to go get us 30 tonight, or Jaren, you go get us 30 tonight. It's a matter of just playing the right way, which is playing with pace, not having the ball stick, not walking the ball into the front court. And the style of play, to me, Dave, is more important than who's getting the shots, because all of those guys are more than capable.
Yeah, that's the thing I love now with Kennard out there. And Bain, you put those out there, you give more space for Ja. And, there's so many different ways that Taylor Jenkins can draw up stuff to make it all work. You mentioned last week how important Steven Adams is. What are you hearing about his return?
Well, MRI was taken. Taylor Jenkins said last night in his pregame availability that got to get a couple of doctors to read it and evaluate it, and hopefully we'll have an update as soon as they're finished reading the MRI. So, fingers are crossed, and I don't think there's any more update than that until haven't seen the MRI. I don't read MRIs. Not a doctor, nor do I play one on television. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I would assume that we're going to have an update in the next day or so, I would imagine.
You don't play a doctor, but you do play Mark Twain.
True.
Yeah. Is that done, by the way? Have you retired Mark Twain?
Until Tennessee Shakespeare asks me to revive it. I did have one school in the Memphis area ask me to do it, but they haven't followed up. But he's always available. The script is always available. The white suit is in the closet.
I love it. Okay. Do you have a preference as to? I guess if the playoffs started today by position, the number 2 team would play the winner of the play-in game between the Lakers and the Pelicans. The 3 guys would play the Clippers. Obviously, if you're number 1, you end up playing the winner of Minnesota and Oak City. Which one would you prefer?
I think Minnesota, because Minnesota just seems to be kind of vulnerable. I mean, if you could pick any team right now, they might be the one that might be the most troublesome, or might be in the most trouble. Karl Anthony Towns isn't back to really full strength. Of course, Anthony Edwards scares you. The Clippers, they haven't had their guys play together, and they think Paul George might be available to play for the playoffs, but they don't know that he will be available for the playoffs. And that, if you talk to people that follow the Clippers on a regular basis, the Clippers are a little bit of team turmoil too. Lakers, I think, are very dangerous right now, and that would be they're not going to be your typical 7 seed if indeed that's where they land.
Well, the interesting thing on that is if you get Minnesota Oak City winner, then you're either going to get Phoenix or Golden State if you win your series. So, look, they're all poison. Pick them. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just I told Jeff Calkins yesterday. I said, I hate to sound like a coach, but whoever we got to play, we got to play. My preference has absolutely zero bearing on how it's going to play out.
I agree, and whichever it is, these guys are terrific. All right, last thing, real quick. Embiid with his 52 last night. He's the MVP, right?
Well, I mean, I've been a Jokic guy simply because if you look at the numbers, his on-court, off-court numbers are just ludicrous, and everything that he brings to the table. But certainly Embiid has an argument. I don't have a vote. I would, and so I haven't really taken a super deep dive into the stats. I think that Jokic and Embiid are 1-2 or 2-1, however you want to look at it. I think it's probably going to be one of the closest MVP votes we've had in quite a while.
Should be fun. And next week, I'll try to remind myself, but I want to ask you a little bit about how if you there's what 100 voters that are media broadcasters, that sort of thing, that determine the 3 teams that are all NBA, which determines a lot of money for players.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a little bit about your philosophy on that, but we're out of time for today. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it as always. Talk to you next Wednesday.
All righty. Take care.
That is our guy. That is the one and only Pete Prenica, and he is brought to you in part by Dinstall's. Oh, yeah, Dinstall's. Hop on over. They've got all your Easter candy. I promise they do. They always, at all 5 locations, have the baskets that are filled with the bunny rabbits that are chocolate. They got it all. You cannot beat this taste of Memphis. It is all Dinstall's. And I'm talking chocolate rabbits, marshmallow eggs, coconut nest, the award-winning chocolate fudge sucker, and it is award-winning. They were voted the best fudge in the world at one point. It's here. Easter goodies blooming at Laurelwood, Germantown, Collierville, Pleasant View, and downtown. Go celebrate the sweetest way you can. Make this Easter filled with Dinstall's. We return in a minute. We begin our golf picks with Mickey Barker from Memphis Golf, Johnny Lyon in the business, the old Mid-South golfer, J-Mo, and me. That comes your way next.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
The second you walk in the front door at 117 Prime, Memphis' premier downtown dining destination, one of the things that will hit you is the fantastic smells. And the top of those is the sweet aroma of experts cooking perfect steaks over a wood fire. That smell, the smell of perfect cuts of meat searing, will make your mouth water instantly. You'll probably get an appetizer, and you might even tell yourself that this time you're going to try something else on Prime's amazing menu. But that smell is probably going to win out, and you'll order the steak of your dreams at 117 Prime.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Natalia, solid dismount, but that little pause is a deduction.
Top tumblers hope to stick the landing with Coach Jasmine.
That aerial sequence still needs work.
She needs more certified athletic trainers to find her balance.
Focus. I'm going to need you for the all-around. Wait, who's spotting the vault?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Save money on eating out, fuel costs, and replacing expensive grills that cannot stand up to the Big Green Egg. Ready to cook in only 10 to 15 minutes with cook temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between with ease. Change your at-home cooking experience for life. Go to shop.biggreenegg.com.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Oh, it's here. I cannot wait. We open up golf picks when it's time to return to Augusta, Georgia, and the Masters. There's a few storylines. We're doing picks a little different this time. You can take anything from the field, and then the third pick, the shock, has to be 51st or below. Johnny Lyon, the old editor, publisher of Mid-South Golfer, joins us now, as does the head of Memphis Public Golf. That is Mickey Barker. Somehow I just lost Johnny Lyon. So we'll start with you, Mickey. Give us an update on Pine Hill. It's supposed to open up in a few weeks, will it?
We believe so. Yeah, everything is coming together pretty well. Construction finally is getting going on the clubhouse and the parking lot, and that's kind of what our next step. Once we have a parking lot, we have a temporary clubhouse there to work out of. We just have to have a place to park everyone once they get there.
Okay. I assume, because you've done this like even at Overton, where you've got like a little kiosk or a trailer. That's how it'll all begin.
That's correct. The clubhouse, the new clubhouse, which will be now on Mallory, right off of 240, will not be ready until looks like 1st of October, maybe the middle of October. But we do have a temporary clubhouse on site, a little small trailer, be able to come in, and we have restrooms there and things like that to check in, and then we'll be able to park in the new parking lot while the construction is going on with the new clubhouse.
What's the target date to open Pine Hill?
Sometime in mid-May.
Mid-May.
Is what we don't have we're not releasing a specific date, just because we don't, if we miss it by a day or two, we want to make sure we're still okay.
Okay. And when does the clubhouse open at Overton? And I've played Overton a couple of times now in the last few weeks. I love that golf course. I really do. It's so much fun.
It is a lot of fun. It's really it's beautiful inside. We've been they're still doing landscaping outside, wood deck out at the old deck, and the inside looks beautiful. The new little pro shop is fantastic. We're getting in stock.
Hey, Mickey, go back to where you were to start the show, because all of a sudden we are losing you. Let me switch my attention now at the moment to Johnny Lyon. A couple of good storylines for this Masters, and that is, one, live players are going to be involved. There's 18 of them. 6 have green jackets. And also the lengthening of the par 5 13th hole by 35 yards, not a 545, making it tougher for the players to get to that green in 2. A lot of them have been hitting like 7 irons to get there. That's the reason to make that first shot even tougher. Give me first your thoughts on the live competition. Will we have peace at Augusta National? Good morning.
Sure, it looks like it. Yeah, they're getting along great so far. Of course, Tiger Woods is not really talking too much. He's got some of his own issues. But the live golf, it looks like they got some really good players that they're not really bringing up any controversies, so it looks like they're going to get along this week.
Tiger, by the way, saying he's only got so many left in him now, but he is saying he's playing better now than he was playing last year when he made the cut.
Yeah, well, he's got that bad leg, so, after that wreck, it's probably never going to be the same. Yeah. But, the addition of the extra 35 yards on the 13th hole, I don't really think that's going to come into play, really, because the guys hit it so far. They're hitting it 360 yards off the tee sometimes. So
I don't know. I heard Dustin Johnson say he wasn't sure if he was even going to try for it because he doesn't hit the draw, and and Phil Mickelson said the same thing. Of course, he's got to hit a cut shot for that thing to work. I heard a lot of them say that they did think it would change the way they were playing. Mickey, what do you think about the lengthening of 13?
I think it actually has become a little easier driving from what I was hearing yesterday, that it opens up the fairway to the right a little bit more. They're not as worried about hitting it through into the pine tree. So I think there will be as many birdies as ever. maybe a few less eagles than normal.
What do you think about the Live guys and everybody playing together?
I think it's fine. This week, I don't think you'll hear a whole lot about it from the players. They want to just play golf and not talk about it. And I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm ready for everybody just to play golf at the Masters and let's not talk about Live and the PGA Tour and just enjoy the Masters.
And your thoughts on Tiger? Any chance?
Oh, absolutely. He always has a chance. If he puts a tee in the ground, then there's a chance. I think, especially around this golf course, if he's playing, he's got a good chance of winning.
All right, let's make picks, and if we got time, we can talk a little bit more about that. So we have a different format this year where we're picking 2 from the field and then somebody that is 51 or below on the OWGR World Golf Rankings. Since we do this in opposite order, J-Mo finished last. Mickey, I believe you were in third. I was in second. Johnny's our defending champion, which means he goes last. J-Mo, it's the year of redemption, you have said for us.
That's right. And I think due to that, I guess this isn't redemption because he won it last year. You got to go with the hot hand. Going Scotty Scheffler again. Not going to try and overcomplicate things.
I don't blame you. It would be the first time in a while we've had back-to-backs, right?
It would be.
And there's a lot of good stories. That McIlroy could win the career Grand Slam, and he's been trying that for like 4 or 5 times in a row. Mickey Barker, who do you think will win?
Well, since Scheffler's off the board, I think it's finally the year for Rory. I'll take McIlroy.
Can't say that I blame you. Okay, I'm going to go with John Rahm. I think Rahm spoils the party, and he wins a green jacket. Johnny, who do you like?
Going with Jordan Spieth.
Okay.
Can't take the guy that I took last year. Scotty's already taken, so I think he's playing really well. So going with Jordan.
All right, second one from the field, J-Mo.
Mickey and Johnny took my 2 and 3, so I'm just going to go down my list here. I'm going to go Jason Day with my second pick here.
Wow, yeah, he's become a popular guy. He was third in the power rankings. Mickey,
Max Homa is my next. I think he's playing well enough, and I think it's a long shot, but I'll take him.
Okay, that leaves for me. I'm going to take Xander Schauffele.
Okay, I'm going to go stick my neck out here and take Cam Smith.
Cam Smith. So there's the first of the Live players to be taken. Now, 51 or below in the world golf rankings.
I'll take the second Live player, and it's an easy one for me, this guy being outside the top 50. That's going to be Dustin Johnson. I'm going to take Dustin Johnson.
Well, he's 69th in the world. He is the highest ranked of those players other than Cam Smith.
That's right.
All right. Who are you going to go with, Mickey?
I'm going to go with one of the Tennessee guys, Scott Stallings.
Scott Stallings. Well, this is really against my philosophy because I don't want any of the Live guys to win, but I want to win this thing. So the next guy on the list by World Power Rankings is Brooks Koepka. So I'm going to go with Koepka.
I thought for sure you were going to say Patrick Reed.
No, I couldn't go that. I couldn't do that. Actually, and I think I have Reed down here. Reed is actually
he's 70th. I believe
he's 70. You're right. I could have taken him. That I can't take Reed. Just can't take him. Johnny, you can.
I will. Yeah, I'll take him. I don't like him, but I'll take him.
Well, he actually played.
Loves the Augusta
in that European tournament. He and McIlroy went down to the end, so his game is actually pretty sharp. That is a very good pick by you, Johnny. So, J-Mo's got Scotty Scheffler, Jason Day, and Dustin Johnson. Mickey's got Rory McIlroy, Max Homa, and Scott Stallings. I have John Rahm, Xander Schauffele, Brooks Koepka, and Johnny's got Jordan Spieth, Cam Smith, and Patrick Reed. Your favorite storyline coming into this, Mickey Barker?
Favorite storyline? For me, it's always Tiger coming back and playing again. I think that'll be the most talked about thing there at the Masters. So, yes, it's Tiger back on the golf course.
Johnny?
Well, they're not talking about Tiger's girlfriend problems, so
No.
I think they're trying to avoid controversy this year. They're not really talking about the live or girlfriends breaking up, and so it looks like it's going to be the weather. Is going to be an issue. It looks like they're talking about bad weather for the weekend.
Cold and rainy, not Tiger-like conditions. Wasn't it Earl who once said the only thing that could slow down my kid is the weather? I think he did.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a lot of this is Augusta. A lot of wind. Definitely makes that course more difficult. I never played it, but I have played Augusta Country Club. Right over the fence.
Which, by the way, they bought land so they could lengthen number 13. J-Mo, your favorite storyline?
Mine's going to be the live players in particular. You mentioned Patrick Reed kind of getting amped up with that rivalry with Rory McIlroy. I want to see if more of that takes place. Not necessarily showing that it's live, but just these players kind of having something to prove in this major tournament.
And amongst that is DeChambeau, who's lost like 20 or 30 pounds because all that extra weight was really making medical and injury issues for him. It's some sort of illness from the way he was eating. And also, he was too big. He was starting to break down, so he's lost 30 pounds. That'll be interesting. For me, I think we could see history, either one of two ways. First time we've seen a back-to-back in a long, long time. I can't remember. It might be Bubba. Did Bubba win back-to-back? It might be Tiger.
No, the last one was Tiger.
Tiger.
Huh? Tiger back-to-back. Yeah.
Okay, Tiger back-to-back. That would be great for Scheffler, or to see Rory in his fifth attempt now to win the career Grand Slam, and yet to win the green jacket. I wouldn't mind, and Mickey, you would love it because you picked him. I wouldn't mind seeing Rory do that as well. Gentlemen, we are underway. Thank you so much. I'm glad we're all back doing this again.
Yep, thank you,
Thanks,
Wolo.
Dave. Glad to be back.
All right, Johnny Lyon, Mickey Barker, and we've got all of our picks in. This final portion of today's show is brought to you by the good folks at Old Dominick, proud partners of the Memphis Tigers. They are also huge Memphians. They just love Memphis, and they're your distillery with so many great products that you can drink in their bar or take the tour, learn the history of really how spirits have grown in the city of Memphis going back to the Dominico Canale many, many years ago. And if you go down, you'll learn again how they make it, where it all started, and you can try it. They have curated tastings. The bar is a very cool place with their great whiskeys and their vodkas. They got it all. You'll love everything about Old Dominick. And when you walk into your local spirit shop, like Eddie Connor's Place in Poplar and St. Nick, just say, I want a taste of Memphis. I want Old Dominick. They've got it there for you. That'll do it for us. Tomorrow, a little bit more football with Russell Copeland, the draft coming up, and other surprises. That will be mañana. Have a great day, everybody. Johnny Radio's next.
Jason Bottom's